Folks, welcome in here to the Crossing Swords post-game report. The New York Islanders get a 3-0 win over the Buffalo Sabres. A late attempt from Jack Eichel and the boys on the power play after Olofsson roofs it. Top Chad is disallowed after an offside for the absolute insult to injury in this one. Dwayne, I just don't know how you can have any sort of optimism about this team going forward into the rest of the season.
Why do you always got to start with me? Like why?
Well, I wasn't going to give it to the Islanders fans to just gloat right away.
No.
What's wrong with me? Am I weird?
You were still cutting something.
I mean, you can't play two lazy periods of hockey and expect to come out in the third and against a defensive team like the Islanders and expect to win a hockey game. You know, just shades of last season, shades of the year before. It's, you can't put together 3 periods of hockey. You can't, the team that we've seen, before the COVID pause. I mean, granted, it wasn't perfect, but at least there was some consistency with scoring, some consistency with scoring chances. Now you can't even string a full period together of consistent hockey, and then the third period they still made it's just like. It's just I don't even know.
And it seems like it's just the same nonsense all game long. Like, how do you not figure out that maybe, take a fake shot, or maybe, swing over a one-timer. Maybe you might find an open lane like that, but instead we got Colin Miller doing the old let's rifle it into some guy's leg. Everyone's doing it, and then the rest of the team starts copying him, and then you see the Islanders go back on a 4-on-1. I don't understand what the strategy is that this team is employing. Obviously, you're not finding any shot lanes. Like, you're not – these dangerous attempts are not all that dangerous, really, because you're not – they're just not elite shooters besides like Olofsson and Jack, really, but he's not even doing it right now. So I don't know, Kanzi, for you, like, can they figure things out at 5v5? I'm not all that optimistic. Not a ton of pieces still, out. Obviously, Lazar and Cozens, but besides that, and McCabe and Risto, like, does that fix things? I don't know.
There's no in between with this team. Like, Colin Miller firing off shots into lanes of traffic and then them not shooting the puck. Like, there's no in between with this team. It's either like really bad or really good. There needs to be consistency, and there's not. I don't know what the answer is. I know there's a lot of people on Twitter that are saying that we should never say trade Ristolainen again. Okay, fine, but Ristolainen's not even in the lineup right now, so why we're even talking about him is. I don't know why that's even a conversation.
Which is on a side point, he might be the one. It seems like one of the players, I think Ralph or one of the guys alluded to, or Rob, right. Dropped something that one of the players was dealing with it more severely. It could be Risto because he's one of the names we haven't heard about that was earlier on that list.
Right, and he's still dealing with it, it appears, from what I've read too as well. But I think the problem is that we just – I'm not saying that I'm a hockey guru, okay? I'm not saying that I'm a hockey smart, but sometimes I'm able to tell like what a team's trying to do. Like, Lindy Ruff's style of dumping the puck in, letting guys bang it out in the corner and get chances out. Like, I can identify what a team's trying to do. I can't identify what Ralph Kruger's trying to do, and that's what scares the most. That's what scares me the most right now, is that I just don't know what they're trying to do. And I think that everybody is so gung-ho, not everybody like us, but there's people who are gung-ho in the hockey world about Ralph Kruger. Maybe Ralph Kruger's built for tournament-style teams, like those World Junior teams that only play for 1-2 weeks at a time, where he gets the most out of his players, but sometimes those guys may not be good for NHL roster, and I just feel like I'm tired of people saying to me, like, well, it's not Ralph Kruger. It's like, well, then who is it? Because you have, like, we had a person on here today say, how many times are you going to have elite players and say it's the players and not the coach? So we've got a comment coming in from Kevin Masari, one of our guys here at Trainwreck, that I think is really good, that I think we should bring up here on the screen here. 7 regulation wins in the last 33 games. That's the topic. Kevin,
don't you hear us talking about how much they suck? Obviously,
yeah, No, Kevin's right though. I think
Yeah,
that's
you
a
don't
big thing to
like.
look at.
I don't even want to know the number because it's that
Right,
bad. Like
right.
if
No,
I
no, I
hear the
know.
number now, I want to bash my face off the
But
computer
I
screen.
think when
So
things
let's
like
throw it over to
Kevin's-
Rob and Dewey to talk about the Islanders.
real quick, I want to finish my thought here real quick and just say that I think a lot of it has to do with, if your workers aren't doing what they're doing, what happens to your manager? Your manager is under scrutiny. Your manager's the one that gets the phone call saying, "Hey man, you might get the axe." So I think at this point, it's we have all eyes turned to Kruger right now to figure out how you can't manage this hockey team. So that's where I'm at with that. So.
Yep. So Rob, what did you think? I think it's just a classic example of the Islanders playing their style of game, and the Sabres just not making any adjustments and doing anything to figure it out.
Of course, this is the Islanders' way. Barry Trotz always preaches defense first, and that's what we saw tonight. It was you only needed one goal. We got 3, but Ilya Sorokin was lights out down back there. He's had a rough start to the season, but he's finally picking it up. We're seeing what he did in the KHL. He's got his first career win, his first career shutout. We got a multi-point game by the sleeper Josh Bailey, a 2-goal game by the captain, a goal and an assist by JG Pajot for 5 goals in 4 games. We're on fire, 8-game point streak, all the way up from last place.
I don't care. Don't care. Don't care.
The Islanders are not boring.
Don't care. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Well, we do care though, in a sense.
I don't. I really don't.
Rob, that was a good point. Keep going.
Oh, I'm throwing it.
Stop.
Dwayne just doesn't want to hear about anyone else's successes right now, and I don't blame him. But Dewey, what you see what's going on here, and it's the Sabres fans just bashing their heads on the wall over and over again, seeing the same bad things over and over again, and it happened with the Isles, and you've seen it sort of transition. What do you think was that key for the Islanders figuring out how to flip the organization back to where it's supposed to be?
Everyone from top to bottom playing their roles and just embracing the culture. With a top GM like Lou Lamoriello coming in, he just surpassed 1,300 wins as a GM. I think he's third on the list in all-time GMs there. And you got Barry Trotz coming off a terrific Stanley Cup season. You only have to embrace that culture coming in, and I think everyone just bought in. And that first year without Tavares was a kind of like a make or break year, seeing which way the direction of the organization was going to go, and a lot more ice opened up for Matt Barzal to really excel more as a player. And then of course he had that Calder winning season that year without JT. But these next couple of years it's the same thing. I think this is the status quo for the Islanders moving forward. They were able to succeed here. Again, another third period where the Islanders didn't let up a goal. So again, they're just leading the league there in that category. And you got 2 tough games against Pittsburgh here, and now we're separated. We got second place alone in this tough division. We just dropped 5 straight. I was ready to hit the panic button. I was going nuts. I was calling for Barry Trotz to have those weary coaching decisions mid-game there with Leo Komarov and Sleepy Lou not really saying much or haven't really moved the needle except Andrew Green and JG Pajot. But you got to have faith there from the front office all the way down to the people who clean the ice during TV timeouts. Like, it's just the culture from top to bottom.
Yeah, and I think this leads me to a new point, or a real good point here is like it's top down, like the top of the organization all the way down. I think that the Pagulas probably didn't even watch this game because they were ready to watch their daughter. I don't think they even cared. I don't think that they were worried about it, and I don't think anything's going to happen because of it. And I don't think you're going to hear from them either because they're just going to be hiding behind and hoping, Jessie wins, let her be the face. Like, you're not going to see Terry or Kim. You're not going to hear them answer for the struggles and the same bad on-ice product, Dwayne.
You're just trying to rile me up, aren't you? That's what you're doing. You bring up the Pagulas to try to rile Dwayne up.
No, but he's right though. H-man.
He's not wrong. He's definitely not wrong. Listen, I won't blame them for having more concentration on their daughter's success. That's, something she hasn't done yet in a Grand Slam tournament. But like even before that, man, their focus has not been on the Sabres, and it's been at other places, even away from the Bills, I'm sure. Like, it's just such nonsense, man, at this point. Like, where are they? Like, we all know who runs this team. It's Kim. It's not Terry. It's Kim. like, I don't care what anyone cares to say or think. It's Kim Pagula who runs this organization, and she does not know the first or last thing of how to run a hockey team. Yet here we are, how many years in, the team has like consistently regressed under their ownership, and they consistently just keep doing the same exact thing year after year after year. How like literally outside of Bilesma, you've brought in nothing but like first time head coaches. If you don't count what Kruger did in Edmonton for like 30 games, a real first season. You bring in nothing but first time head coaches, and it hasn't worked. And yet you have guys like Gallant and Boudreau like out there available. I guarantee you, if Columbus doesn't make the playoffs this year, Tortorella is on his way out of Columbus, 100%. And if that is the case, you should, like any common sense organization that has the issues that this franchise has right now would be calling Tortorella. What can you do for this team to make us a tougher team to play against? But we won't do that because we want yes people. We want yes men. Yes men like Kevin Adams. We want yes men like Ralph Kruger, apparently. People who are just, looking for a chance and are willing to do whatever it takes to get a chance. Because tell me in what universe Kevin Adams was qualified to be a National Hockey League general manager. What did he do preceding this that qualified him to be one? Because you want to know what? Signing Taylor Hall, honest to God, for me, really wasn't that difficult for any GM in this situation here in Buffalo. Because you want to know what? He wants to get paid. He wants to go play with the very best center he can possibly to go get paid. And who's the best center available to him in free agency for a team that's starving for goals? It would probably call them. Might have been the Buffalo Sabres. Was it really that hard of a sell? Honestly, probably not, because he wants to get paid at the end of the day. He's looking for a long-term deal, and there were no long-term deals probably offered to him in the COVID free agency period. Eric Stahl, great, you had a relationship with him, but you know what? He's 5 years past his prime. And then you did nothing on defense. You brought in Matt Irwin, an absolute slug. You did nothing with goaltending. You brought back Carter Hutton, who I'm not going to blame Carter Hutton for tonight, but for fuck's sakes, there have been games this season you've lost because of goaltending. Kevin Adams is to blame, but you know what I mean? Like, it's the ownership. It's the lack of attention to a product, something that you own that you care less about, because you continuously take this fan base for granted because we're just going to keep coming back. It's unreal.
No, it is. And then that's the problem, is like so many Sabres fans like continued to show up in that arena just because like they kind of felt obligated, even though like it was getting to that point where like the Pagulas are going to feel that, in the long run on the bottom dollar. But what do? They come out and release the royal blue jerseys. Guess what? Everyone's boom, 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 buying the jerseys. They're making that right up. People are just playing into their hands, and it's awful to hear. Like, we're being played like fiddles essentially, and they're just, the lack of accountability from the top down is what the issue really is. And you continue to get people in here, like you said, yes men, and you just answer and you do what they want. So then you can't get yourself in trouble. You say, hey, it was your idea. I'm just doing what you told me to do. And that's essentially what's going on. No one's willing to put themselves out there and say, hey, maybe let's try this move or that move. Maybe make a shakeup here with something you see off the analytics, because they're obviously not paying much attention to the analytics, because you still have Reeder, Eakin, and Okposo out there on the same line. That line has a large enough sample size now that you can see that they are not good together. And I just don't know what it is. It's just the same garbage, the same old Sabres over and over right now, Conti.
I just want to put out there that, and Dwayne, I agree. Like, I think Kevin Adams is in a weird situation, because I think Kevin Adams I think he is a bright mind. I just don't know if he came about at the wrong time. You know what I mean? Like, no, you can laugh all you want. Like, I'm
not laughing at you. I'm not laughing at you.
But I'm making the point that, like, I think that Kevin Adams actually has a decent hockey mind, but I just think he's put in a really crappy situation. For qualifications, I mean, he's been in every aspect of this organization. Not to say that makes you qualified, but like, to say like we just pulled a above average ragtag guy off the street, like we didn't. We pulled a guy who was been around the game. With that being said, I think that it's a failure of putting guys in position that don't that aren't ready for it yet, just yet. Not saying he's not ready. It's kind of not the season for him to come on the show here and make these moves and stuff. And I do agree there's a couple more moves that he could have made this offseason that would have made this team better. I think over the course of of the years, though, like Ted Brady had said, it's a mismanagement of talent. That's kind of the theme we keep going back to is you can have you can have Ryan O'Reilly, you can have Eichel Hall, I think even Bogosian is what Ted's going to say next, probably Kane, Dahlin, Montour. Like these are guys that you brought in here to play hockey, to make your team better. And it just seems like no matter what coach they put in place, they just can't get it together. So I personally, in my opinion, think this calls for a retread coach, a coach that can get guys going. We've seen it with other organizations. I mean, dude, how many times has Ken Hitchcock had a job in the freaking NHL? Like 4 or 5 times over again. The Sabres need to start dipping back into those old coaches. And I know I said something about the old boys club and stuff like that, but this team really needs like a Bruce Boudreau, a Gerard Gallant, one guy that's going to really rally these troops and fire them up. Because at this point, man, I mean, we're placing blame left, right, north, south, east, west. I mean, we don't know we kind of know where the issue is. Actually, we know where the issue is. It's just it doesn't involve the actual players per se. It affects the players directly, but what are you going to do when someone says like, no, I'm not moving out of this position?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to be a bad hockey team forever.
Brian Giunta talked about this a little bit, and I've heard a lot of other people talk about this, about how internally there's a lot of those things. Like you have these people who just aren't accountable, and they're sort of doing whatever. They held over a lot of people who were here before who weren't necessarily qualified, and then continued to move those people up in those positions. So there's people in all aspects of the organization that shouldn't be there. So they're not making the life of the players easier on a day-to-day basis. I'm not saying specifically the media relations, but like you have so much interaction with them as a player because they're setting up all your interviews and like all those other things. Like if that's not going well, like that's going to affect you on a day-to-day basis.
And that's the thing, Ty, is like I think the one guy that may be a disciplinarian guy or a guy that's very habitual, a guy that's very organized, like Kevin Adams, gets placed in a position where like he might be an asset to your organization, but you put him in the one position where you're like, we need constant. It's like I feel like Kevin Adams is a good guy. He just got the shit under the stick. That's just how I feel about it. It's like this guy he lives in Buffalo. He knows how much this team means to the city. So you put him in the one position where he's going to get the most scrutiny? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It hurts my head. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, with everything going on, like, did you really expect him though to go out and like do a search and like try to pay anyone? No, like that's
why would they?
And it's the same old for the Sabres. But to get out of that same old routine with your daily grooming, get over to manscaped.com. Manscaped brings you the best in below the waist grooming technology, precision engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. A 7,000 RPM motor. They got a bright LED flashlight on it. And the ceramic anti-nick technology, absolutely phenomenal. Use promo code Trainwreck over at manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping. Again, promo code Trainwreck, 20% off for free shipping.
You're nuts if you don't. You're nuts if you don't take that offer.
You're absolutely nuts. But Dewey, Rob, you boys have a little bit more to be excited about heading forward. We have the Capitals on Thursday, and then a series there against the Devils starting on Sunday. What are you boys looking forward to this week for the Isles?
We got, I believe, a back-to-back against the Penguins. So it's just another big series, just like every series all season, because we're playing the same team we're playing the same team 8 times, but it's back-to-back. They're, I believe, 4 points out right now with the game in hand. So if we just keep winning, we're just going to keep building the gap and set us steadily into a playoff spot.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, we got them not back-to-back. We got them Thursday, Friday at home, away, it looks like. And then we got Buffalo back in the Coliseum on Monday. So, boys, that was tough. You guys had the 2 weeks off. Dwayne said it a lot yesterday in the show that the Devils and the Sabres are both coming into this at a huge disadvantage to the rest of the league.
Devils won today.
The Devils come back and win, and they had almost their entire team on the COVID.
They have a coach. That's his name's Lindy Ruff. So yeah, he have a coach. So
yeah,
who doesn't write books?
Still at a complete disadvantage though. You have the Islanders are a top team defensively to play on, and you guys had a couple of chances tonight. You had one taken away there, which was tough. That could have been a little bit of an ice tilt for you guys there. But Sorokin was out there to get his first dub, and he did. First shutout for the kid.
Yep.
And we move on to a tough Pittsburgh team that had Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Brian Russ has been playing well out there. So we'll see what happens for the Isles moving forward. But they're on a streak. They did it last year, and teams are probably looking like, all right, well, they're bouncing back after that 5-game skid. So once they're in the groove, they're in the groove. There's nothing really else to say about that.
Yep, exactly. When you have a team like that, they play their system, and when they do it well. It's something we can't figure out how to do here. Kanzi, before we end it here,
Monday.
Give me some sort of last thoughts here that maybe I won't fully lose my mind watching this team play the rest of the year.
So you had a bad day. I literally, guys, look, I guess the way to look at the season is to lower expectations. Just be happy that sports are here during a global pandemic. Enjoy them while you can. There is a hockey team here in Buffalo that you can watch, in the background while you're doing other things. But, at the end of the day, let's think about this. Where we were during the pandemic, and this is me trying to provide some positivity. We didn't think there was going to be any sports. We didn't have the confidence that any organization would be able to, with all the athletes, all the fans, figuring out ways to do it. And here we are months later, almost a year later, and we have we've had hockey championships, we've had NBA, we've had an NFL season and a Super Bowl. I mean, let's be thankful that at least we can sit here and swear and yell and pound our fists on the table. Because let's be honest, without sports, there's nothing. We still have UB hoops too. I mean, as
they're getting hot at the right time.
So let's just be happy that there's still sports to argue about. And to our Islander fans, Dewey Crocs, Rob Ryan. I mean, let's face it, the Islanders. Nobody, not to be rude here, but when it comes to New York City, people say Rangers. What a hell of a hockey organization you guys really do have. I don't want to be the guy that's gluck, 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 but let's think about this for a second. I mean, you guys really, that's a team that I pull for because I respect you guys. So thanks for coming on the show. It's great to be able to talk sports again. So.
Yep, and the positives. Yep, one more year gone from Cody Hodgson's contract. Thank you for that one. There are some positives out there. Dwayne, I think Kanzi, did that as good of justice as possibly could have been done. At least we have sports. We have something that's still bringing us all together.
And I love Dwayne.
We want to say, that's what I want to say. Thank you, everyone, tuning in, listening, watching. It means a lot. We wouldn't be doing this without you guys. We want to convey that passion you guys all have as well. And I know Dwayne, it's getting zapped out of us day in and day out. But some of these interactions at least make us feel alive. Ted Brady, we did get a goal in the third. It was disallowed, but we did put it in the back of the net.
Ted, you're not a heater today, man. We like a lot of the points you're making.
Speaking of shot, I saw another crazy stat. It was the second period, that Yoki Haro shot with Sorokin saving on that glove. That was about 7 minutes into the second period, and that was your last shot of the period too. So that was kind of scary to see how you guys just kind of almost just getting shut down again for another whole period.
Yeah.
Geez. Dwayne is just not doing well right now.
Yeah, thanks, Dewey, for bringing that one up, bud.
See you guys Monday at the Coliseum, where the roofs leak, and if you go to the bathroom, you're missing the whole period. $15 parking. We'll see you at the Marriott. We're going to Borelli's.
I don't know about that. We'll see you guys Thursday night. Another big one here for the Sabres as they're going to take on the division leading Capitals, I believe. So that's going to be very, very fun for all of us. What a great stretch.
Yeah, we're not looking good.
Another turning point.
Yeah, sing us out of here, Kanzi. I can't say let's go Buffalo.
Grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind. Hang them on a shelf with good health and